Hi there, I'm Woolly Wormhead. I'm a knit designer specialising in knitted hats, technique and construction. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am going to show you a tutorial for finishing the top of a hat that's been worked from the bottom up. There are a number of different ways to finish a bottom up hat, all right, to finish the crown. This one involves no shaping. And it's great because of that. It makes it really, really good for beginner knitters. And the problem that you often get though with hats that are gathered at the top that have no shaping is you get a lot of bulk. This method reduces the bulk and it's called the modified gathered bind off. I actually learned this technique from the loom knitting community. Now this is a tutorial that I originally recorded in 2021 for my patrons. They normally get early access to new tutorials, new techniques. And it was done for a pattern called Simple Slouch, which is a free pattern on my blog. Now, this is the hat here. It's got a nice sideways knit brim, so it gives you a little bit of practice at provisional cast on and grafting and guard stitch. It's got a slip stitch selvage along that edge, which makes picking up the stitches really easy. And then that's it. There's no shaping at all. And you've got this really nice gathered crown at the top here, which is not as bulky as it would be if we just gathered all the stitches together. So I'm going to go ahead now and edit in that old tutorial that I shared with my patrons so I can show you how it's done. It's really simple, it's really effective, and it really does make a big difference to how you can finish the top of a gathered hat. All right. So this is the hand spun. That's what I've got left. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the first yarn tail reasonably long, so it's kind of cut it about there, and then I'm going to cut another reasonable length off there. I don't really need this much, but it's just to make sure that I've got enough to work with as I go round. So let me just, I hope you can catch all of this. Right, so what I'm going to do first is, this is the piece of yarn that I cut off that's not attached to the end of the knitting. What I'm going to do is this. I've thread that yarn tail onto my needle. I'm going to put it into this one, and then into this one, and then this one, and I'm going to do it all the way around. So let me just pull that through like that. I mean, you don't want to cut this yarn too short because basically when you thread the first one through, you've got to leave it on the needles. So if it's too short, then it will come out from some of the stitches because you can't pull them both through on the drawstring at the same time. So I am pulling them through here. So let me just make sure it's going to catch around the needle. So I'm doing it from the inside because this is going to be the one that's going to be on the inside. It's the one that's the yarn tail I've cut. So it just seems to be more comfortable to pull that one that way. And the one that's attached to the hat still, we'll do on the outside. So we're coming to the end now, and as you say, I've done through every other stitch. That one's there, and that one's. So I'm going to pull that through, I'm not going to pull it all the way through, obviously. I'm just going to have it so that there's the, where are we? There's the first yarn tail, and there's the one that I just pulled through. So what I'm going to do, so that's both ends of this particular piece of yarn. I'm just going to put a little knot in it here so that it doesn't come out from the stitches, because we want it to stay there. And that will be the one that ends up going on the inside for the draw through. So now we're going to do the other one with the yarn tail. So this is the one that's obviously still attached to the hat. Okay, so let's put that, right, let's just make sure I don't get all these tangled up around the needle. So let's put that inside completely and out of the way. So we started, we can see here on this, we went into the first stitch, then the third. So on this side, with this yarn tail, making sure it's not tangled up around the needles, we want to go into the second. And then, so it's alternate stitches. Just get the first ones in and I'll show you how that, I've still managed to get it tangled around a needle. There we go. So we've got this one, that's the one that's on the inside on every other stitch, and then this one on the outside on the other stitches there. All right, so we're going to do that all the way around now and just catch the other set of stitches. So essentially we kind of divided it by 2. Oh, that's a bit, what's happened there. That's it. Hand spun's a little bit, it's a really nice hand spun, but it's a little bit, a few little uneven bits in places. I'd rather go through the whole stitch rather than split the yarn, because obviously that's going to give a much nicer finish. So just as you're going around, just kind of check to make sure that you are catching the right stitches. That one there that we've just caught here wasn't caught on the back, so we're doing it all right. Almost there. I'm looking forward to getting this one blocked and getting the pom-pom made and getting it photographed, because it's going to be a really simple pattern in that it will work. It's got a few simple little details. Got this sideways brim and the finish there, but it's going to be adaptable for any weight yarn. Okay. Yeah, just make sure you go through the stitch rather than splitting the yarn, because as it gathers, it's going to be a bit uneven if you get stuck in the yarn rather than going all the way through the whole stitch. So we're coming to the end. Right, so I'm going to take that off there for now. And so what we're going to do is just push the needle out. It might get a little bit tight because it's obviously got extra lengths of yarn kind of through all of the stitches. Okay, so what we're going to do first is turn the hat inside out. Let's put the needles out of the way. Turn the hat inside out. So we look at, this was the one, here we are. This is the one that we did first. And we gently gather that. Make sure that the stitches move around nice and evenly. For now, I'm just going to do a temporary little kind of loop knot in there to hold it in place, because what I would like to do, and what I've found when I've been doing this before, is that if you try and tighten this first one up straight away, you don't necessarily get the best tension because you've got a whole bunch of other loose stitches on the other side. So by catching it temporarily and then going back and tightening it up gives it an even neater finish. And then, see, this one is, let's get that loop So this one is a little bit harder because we've already drawn it through on one side of the stitches. Can you see what's happening here as I do this? And okay, so we want to push that hole down there because it will tighten up more. And this is what I was saying about making sure that you can go back and re-tighten that first one. So that's that first part. That's the second set, the second set of stitches we threaded. This is on the outside, right? And let's put that back on the needle. What we want to do is we want to pop it all the way through the center, and then we'll go back, get and turn the hat inside out. And again, give it a nice tighten up there. And then this is where you want to come back to this other one and just re-tighten it. Now, I put a knot in here before, so let's just undo that. So what we want to do with this one, put it nice and tight again, and then put a knot in here, like that. And then go back to this one, re-tighten it up a little, another little tug, and then start to thread it through on the underside of the stitches. I'm just going to lip it through in a couple of these here, catch it. And then what I'm going to do is probably just tie a little knot with one of these to hold it in place, because what I want to do is I want to, that's it. I mean, there's going to be a big pom-pom on here anyway, so I'm actually going to need to leave a yarn towel on the inside. But I want to just fasten them off quickly so that I can turn it back through and show you. And there is the gathered finish. And it's, considering the bulky weight of this hand spun and how many stitches are on here, because it's a slouchy hat, so it starts here, expands up, then that's actually not looking too bad at all. I think that's looking pretty good. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish weaving all these ends I've got down here and leave one on the inside for the pom-pom, but then I'm going to block it and make a pom-pom this evening. But that's the modified gathered bind off, and I hope this video is actually of help. I actually recorded what I was doing. Okay, bye. And there you go. I hope that was helpful. It's a really clever little technique, isn't it? When I first learnt it from the loom knitting community, I was like, wow, why is this not being used more widely for beginner knitters, for hand knitters? Because hand knitters are generally taught for kind of like to just gather all the stitches together without any shaping. And this is much more refined, much less bulky. It looks much neater. I think it's really, really cool. So this was originally shared with my patrons. They are my favorite community online. Without their support, I would not be able to provide free tutorials, free patterns, or free workshops. If you are inclined, if you're able to, we'd love to have you join us. Membership starts from $1 a month, and there are annual discounts available. So you get free tutorials, early access to all sorts of stuff that goes on. We have virtual knit meets and everything. It's a great place to be. Obviously, I understand that not everybody wants to or can join Patreon. So if you want to help me get my free tutorials out to people, then do the YouTube thing of clicking, liking, supporting, joining, sharing around. All that helps. It helps me and it helps other knitters get these techniques out there. All right. Thanks for watching. See you later.